fragile like a flower.
Fragile like a bomb. Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Like a Bomb. I'm Bailey.
I'm Diller Mom.
And it's been a while. It's been over 2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah,
Last one came out in January.
Wow. It feels like it's
Yes.
been longer than that.
Well, a lot has happened, both in the
Look,
world
see,
and our personal lives.
I can't stop.
Because let's see, if you are paying attention to the video, because video is uploaded on Spotify and YouTube, because Spotify does that now, and it's been
It,
doing that for
it's been
longer
doing,
than our hiatus of me
yeah,
moving.
it's been doing that
My
for a while.
office is different, even though it's the same purple. And yeah, well, crossing the country is wild.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about. Grammy was saying something today when I called her about her taxes. She wants to. She asked because I said we were going to keep Murphy
The
whenever.
car.
Yeah, sorry, the car. We're going to keep Murphy whenever I find a car that's actually built. Um, and she's like, "Well, do you think how many miles?" Like, I was like, "No, Murphy cannot make it across country and back. Like,
No.
no." Um, because her car is smaller than ours, and
Mm,
so I was like, "Well, what about your RV?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, maybe. I need to probably get it checked out." And I was like, "I mean, if it would make it, I would say take the RV. It has
yeah.
all the
I forget she has
things."
that.
Yeah, I forget she has it too, but I guess when she started talking about driving cross country and, like, borrowing Murphy, I'm going, "You have an RV." I mean, it's from the
Yeah.
'90s, but it
It is
should
meant for that.
yeah, like, it's
Our
its job.
Murphy is a 2013 Ford Escape.
Yeah, and it has a lot of miles on it, so
I gave it to Pip right as it was about to turn 150, and you gave it to me, and I hit the over 1,000. So I put over 50,000 on it.
yeah, so yeah. Uh,
Lots of life.
you
Let's
moved
see.
across
I hit,
country?
I
Uh,
went across the country. I hit 5 national parks instead of more because that would have taken forever.
yeah,
And we didn't really have the time. I guess we did, but we didn't want to.
you wanna set up
Um,
your house.
Yes, and being on the road for so long, especially since I was on my period the whole drive. Okay, minus like the last 2 days. Uh,
Yeah.
but still, um, that sucked. Because I bleed so long and heavy. But we went to Petrified Forest in what state is that? I'm blanking. That was in Arizona.
It's like, "You think I'm gonna know?"
Our first national park was in Arizona. Petrified Forest, and then we went to Joshua Tree and Death Valley and California. The rest of them were in California.
California's a big state.
It's a big state. We were in there for so many days.
Yeah.
It was like, when are we leaving? And then we went to Pinnacles, which is a newer one. That national park was established in 2013. And then we went to Redwood. And that was really cool. I was really hoping to see a banana slug. But by far our favorite was Death Valley. And I got 2 patches from Death Valley. So I have an extra one as a little gift if you or Pip want one.
Yeah. Sorry,
It's
make
very
it
boring, but it's a
yeah.
Death Valley patch.
I mean,
Uh,
it is, a desert,
but
so
it was so much prettier. Granted, of course, we got there during the rare super bloom, so it was covered in mostly yellow, but the predominant colors were yellow, purple, and white. Wildflowers everywhere. The mountains themselves are gorgeous because there's so many colors. The landscape itself is gorgeous, and then the Badwater Basin, which is the lowest elevation point above sea level kind of deal. Like, it's not under the ocean.
yeah.
Sorry. Um, in this Western hemisphere is negative 286 sea level. So, and then part of all the rain that brought the rare super bloom that happened in the fall, or like winter, I mean. Also, there was enough water that there was the rare lake formation in Badwater Basin. And you could see, so you're negative 200 something sea level. And then you see this mountain snow peak that's like 5,000 elevation and the same view, and it's wild. And it was just so pretty, and we didn't even explore all the cool parts. Like, people also go for the mysterious moving rocks in Death Valley. We didn't go there, but we did explore the sand dunes, the Mesquite sand dunes, which is where Star Wars: A New Hope, the 1977 one, was filmed. I don't think any of the other Star Wars were filmed at that's Tatooine. So we visited Tatooine and came back. So,
Yeah, you have different landmarks that you saw than if I take the trip because one
I
of
was
my
going in the winter.
destinations is Blueberry Donuts. So,
Well, that too, but also I was going in the winter. I can't
yeah.
really go diagonal across the country. I kind of had to
Yeah.
go bottom with 40 and then up with 5 because I'm now in the Pacific Northwest where
Yeah.
it is rainy.
Yeah. I don't really know if I wanna go down in the summer. I'd rather go
No,
up.
it was in the upper 80s, low 90s when we were in Death Valley at the beginning of March.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, I've looked at a bunch of different routes.
There's still a bunch
So
of national parks.
so I don't know. I gotta finish everybody's taxes before I worry about
Yeah, your
anything else.
kind reminder for tax season. I need to finish filing ours. We're gonna do that
Yeah.
this weekend.
Ugh, gotten
And
2 of them.
building more furniture.
Oh, fun. I need a pollen season to stop so we can build the furniture for the porch. But everything is still currently yellow.
I need to pick out what furniture I want for the outside.
Yeah, we
'Cause new
finally did
place,
that.
new furniture.
Ours has been sitting in boxes for a while. At least it's
Yeah,
on the springed-in porch, so that's
that's fair. Some
progress.
things are also just heavy and also hard to pick out.
Yeah, I don't wanna have to buy more furniture.
No,
I don't Yeah, I
no.
don't need any furniture though, so that helps me.
I do still.
Yeah,
I
we
still need a bookshelf. I still need some sort of other storage units for, all the other creative things I do. An example of our flyers for our podcast here.
Oh, yeah, our Target has a sale on their storage containers starting tomorrow.
Not those kind of storage containers. I need, like, the IKEA, like, filing cabinets that aren't filing cabinets, like, storage drawers.
Oh, okay, well, that doesn't
But the
help
ones
you.
I want aren't available at IKEA. They only have the white and my office would not fit a white piece of furniture. I need black or more colorful or something fun.
Yeah, I just need stuff to put blankets because 'cause we're down a bed, so I need to put more blankets up, but that involves
Fair.
doing it, and I already currently have clothes in the dryer, clothes in a basket, and a pile of dirty clothes to do too, so,
It's
uh
amazing how many coat hangers you need when you don't think about throwing them in the pod and so you get rid of them all.
yeah. I will say I did keep pretty much all the coat hangers when we moved, and I still have a box that's in a spare bedroom closet to have coat hangers when I run out because I have apparently too much clothes.
Well, we got rid of a lot of clothes and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Moving across the country will do that.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm keeping my stuff for right now. But I don't have anything updates except for this I keep I don't wanna turn around because that's where the Piper said she saw the, like, shadowy ghost dude for the whole night she spent here last week. I'm just like,
You have Brody in there to fight it, assuming he's awake.
"Nope, he's passed out now." Oh, wait, he knows I'm talking about him. Nope, he's dead to the world. And I don't know where Finn is because he's probably still looking
Whatever
for his
Finn
Swiss
does.
ties because 'cause we've lost all of them. We can't find any of them now.
Well, I have a bunch more for him at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done with them. Poor dude, it's can't help it. I need to go buy, like, fancy electronics just to get some more twist ties for my
You just
cat.
have me give you some when you come visit me.
Yes,
Sometime in the summer, I guess.
yes, but
Whenever that happens. But
we'll
Artemis
see.
2 launched.
Yeah, I saw
I watched the
that.
launch live. I did not watch the splashdown. I was out about exploring, going and grabbing pizza by the slice, going to
Pizza.
a store and accidentally getting a hat for free, which we need to go fix.
See, I want pizza. Maybe I'll go get pizza for dinner. I just ate half a quesadilla before we did this because I hadn't really eaten today, so I decided I should
I
probably eat something. But, you go first?
Okay, I think yeah, I do. I'm gonna talk about Hilary Knight. I was hoping to talk about her in the more relevant because we just had the Winter Olympics also
We
before I
did.
left. It was wonderful. Of course, I did not have Peacock or whatever that was streaming live, so I watched all the live points as they were going down and all the penalties and countdown on the Olympic page and the last minute goal to tie the game at 2 minutes left, done by Hilary Knight. I believe it was her point, if not, it was an assist, but she definitely helped with that. And then we went into overtime, and the women's hockey team won gold. Um,
Yay!
we ignore the men's hockey team; they're buttheads, even if they haven't they fixed their drought of like 40 years without a gold. And then the U.S. Paralympic hockey team also won gold, so we swept across.
Wow.
The year of hockey. I
Wow.
guess everyone also got into it because of heated rivalry, which I've refused to read because that's not. I don't like romance books, and also I'm already into hockey beforehand. Thank you very much.
I
I was into it before it was cool.
I didn't know that it was not
It's
cool.
super popular right now. Like,
Oh.
there's a bunch of merchandise for hockey. People are going to it, and it's like, oh, my little
Oh, I guess I went from a not hockey town to a very hockey town, and so I assumed that hockey is we Richmond had the Richmond Renegades. They
but you
was a
didn't
hockey,
have an NHL team
but they
because
they
Raleigh's
suck.
had an NHL team the whole time we've been there.
Yeah. So I guess I kinda didn't think about it because we have hockey and it's a big deal.
I'm going
Chick-fil-A.
to small businesses and I'm seeing all this and I'm seeing all this and girls going to more hockey games and this because they
Oh.
read a book and it's just
Oh.
like, okay,
Yeah.
can we get into hockey because we like the sport and not just because you want I don't know. I
Yeah.
bopped to my mic. Anyways, Hilary Knight is one of the most prominent faces in North American hockey. I say North American because you have Canadian and US. I don't know how Mexico and others in North America fit into this,
I don't know.
but so into Hilary Knight, besides her obviously most recent of the Olympics. So, Hilary Atwood Knight was born on July 12th, 1989, in Palo Alto, California, to Cynthia and Jim Knight. She has three younger brothers, and when she was 5, her family moved to Lake Forest, Illinois, where she began playing ice hockey and played on boys' teams. Because
There weren't girl teams.
the Professional Women's Hockey League, the PWHL, was only formed in 2024 with their inaugural season. Of course, there's been other leagues since and various back and forth, but I'm pretty sure the first Olympic women's hockey team wasn't until the 90s.
Sounds
So, like,
right.
you couldn't do anything as a woman, apparently, still.
Mm.
And so she played on boys' teams, and their family later moved to Hanover, New Hampshire. More hockey because you're up north.
Yes.
And so, from an early age, Hillary was determined to reach the Olympics. Who doesn't? If you love the sport, you want to go. And as a young child, she told her grandmother, I'm going to the Olympics, and wrote a book for a second grade school project about a
Aw.
girl with a magical hockey stick who achieved that dream.
Aw.
She honed her skills by watching NHL players and emulating their hand and footwork, creating difficult challenges and targets in the family's garage to improve her puck control. As a high schooler, Hillary attended Choate Rosemary's Hall, a private boarding school in Connecticut with a renowned hockey program. When the national team visited the school in 2005, it strengthened her Olympic aspirations. Very understandable. You met your heroes. Be like, ha, yes, hockey, please.
Yeah.
Into her playing career. So she attended the University of Wisconsin, where she played for the Badgers from 2007 to 2012. Her 143 career goals are the most by any men's or women's player at the University of Wisconsin.
Wow.
And Knight helped lead the Badgers to 2 NCAA titles in 2009 and 2011. During her freshman season, Knight ranked second on the team with 20 goals and tied for fifth on the team in assists, 18. Her goals total of 38 was third overall in team scoring. She ranked 7th in the nation in points per game for rookies and game-winning goals. During the season, Knight had 12 multi-point games, ranked third for the season, and Knight led the team in game-winning goals with 6. On February 2nd, Knight recorded a hat trick against WCHA rival North Dakota. As a sophomore, she appeared in 39 games for the Badgers and led the NCAA in goal scoring 45 and points of 83. Her 16 power plays ranked first in the NCAA. Based on her statistic accomplishments, Knight became the new Badgers record holder for points, goals, and power play goals in one season.
Wow.
She recorded 24 multi-point games, 13 multi-goal games, and 11 multi-assist games. And on September 27th, 2008, versus the, I'm going to butcher this, Quinnipiac pick, Bobcats, Knight scored a career high and school record 5 goals in one game. In the process, she recorded her first natural hat trick, which was mentioned against their rival, North Dakota, and their second hat trick of the season. During the Frozen Four for for hockey players instead of basketball, Knight led the team in scoring with 6 points, 3 goals, and 3 assists. And from September 26th to October 31st, Knight had a 9-game point scoring streak. She ended the season with a 6-game point streak, which is insane. And so lots of other wins and various technical statistics if you would like to get in. But she was one of the assists for a goal on January 14th that made the game winner. With the sweep, the Badgers increased their winning streak to 10 straight games. And she was the top goal scorer in Division I women's hockey that season with 31. And this was in beginning of 2011. On February 5th, 2011, Knight scored her 36th goal of the year at 2:46 in the overtime period as Wisconsin defeated the Bemidji State Beavers 3-2 mark at the Stanford Center. Bemidji State goal, Elena McClenny made 43 saves on that night, including 24 in the second period. And so while she was at the University of Wisconsin, there is a tile on the Kohl Center, which is, I'm guessing, their sports center or their hockey center, recognizing Knight's achievements with the Wisconsin Badgers women's ice hockey team, which is pretty cool. And so after college, she went to the Boston Blades with the CWHL. From 2012 to 2015, she was selected 4th overall, and Knight made an immediate impact in her rookie professional season. During the 2012-2013 season, she recorded 32 points in 24 games as the Blades captured both the regular season championship and the Clarkson Cup, becoming only the second American-based team to win the championship. Knight became the first American-born player to win the CWHL's Most Valuable Player award, while also serving as the leading scorer in the postseason as Boston defeated the Montreal Stars in the championship final. She also helped the Blades to win a second Clarkson Cup championship in 2015 when Boston finished the regular season with the best record in the CWHL, which was a precursor to many other leagues. During her time with the Blades also, Knight had made history as the first female skater, not goaltender, to practice with an NHL team when she trained with the Anaheim Ducks during the 2014-2015 season. And she moved on to Boston Pride with the NWHL 2015 to 2018. On September 25th, 2015, which the NWHL is the National Women's Hockey League, and joined the newly formed professional league in its inaugural season. In her first game with the Boston Pride, she scored the team's first goal and went on to score a second goal in the same game. Knight's offensive prowess continued throughout the season as she led the league in scoring, becoming the NWHL's first ever scoring champion and establishing herself as one of the league's premier players. In the playoffs, Knight scored the overtime winning goal in Game 1 of the 2016 Isabel Cup Finals. Boston went on to capture the inaugural Isabel Cup, with Knight playing a central role in bringing the professional championship to the franchise. And so she continued to showcase her talents in the league's All-Star festivities in February 2017, representing Team Kessel at the second NWHL All-Star game, and she found the back of the net once again, demonstrating her consistent ability to perform on the league's biggest stages. And during her time with Boston Pride, she served as a prominent face of the NWHL, helping to raise the profile of women's professional hockey through both her on ice performance and her advocacy for the league. Um, and so, briefly, she went on March 18th, 2018, to the Les Canadiens de Montreal. Don't ask me to bother with my French. Announced that Knight would be joining the team in time for the 2018 CWHL playoff run, making her the first 2018 USA Olympian to sign with the professional team following the Americans' gold medal victory in Pyeongchang. Knight signing with the Canadiens was significant as it saw her depart from the NWHL for the CWHL, stating that when she plays somewhere, she views it as endorsing that league and what they provide to players, fans, and the game's development. And so she played for the full 2018-2019 season, joining a roster that would reunite her with Marie-Philip Poulin. And that is the other very prominent face of Canadian and American hockey, marking the first time in the careers that the two rivals turned teammates would play together. um, and so in the playoffs, Knight was a dominant force. Knight and Jill Solner had impressive postseason showings, driving offense for the Canadiens throughout their playoff run. And it is still in French, Les Canadiens. Or I don't even know how you pronounce it with all the N's because it's been a while for French, but I'm just going to anglicize it once again. The Canadiens advanced to the 2019 Clarkson Cup final to face the Calgary Inferno. Though they played without Captain Marie-Philip Poulin, who was sidelined with a lower body injury sustained in the final regular season game. In the championship game on March 24th, 2019, Knight made an exceptional pass during a 5-on-3 power play in the second period, delivering a backwards between the leg no-look pass to Anne-Sophie Bettis for Montreal's second goal of the game. Montreal lost to Calgary 5-2. It was the third time in 4 years the two teams had met in the Canadian Women's Hockey League final. And there's one more league before we reach the PWHL, and that was the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association from 2019 to 2023. On May 2nd, 2019, over 200 women's hockey players announced via coordinated social media posts that they would boycott any professional league in North America for the 2019-2020 season. The women behind the hashtag For the Game movement included Knight, Marie-Philip Poulin, Amanda Kessel, Sarah Nurse, Lee Steckline, Rebecca Johnston, Shannon Zabatos, Natalie Spooner, and Nora. That has an accent mark that I don't know how to do it with English. Ratty. It's got two omelettes above the A. The players stated they were coming together, not just as individual players, but as one collective voice to help navigate the future of women's professional hockey. On May 20th, 2019, the players formed the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association as a non-profit organization. Knight was instrumental, along with her fellow players, in the creation of this league, and served as a staunch advocate for having one professional North American women's hockey league. The PWHPA organized the Dream Gap Tour that toured several cities in Canada and the United States, featuring community involvement events and exhibition games where the top players in the sport competed. And so, in May 2022, the PWHPA signed a letter of intent with Billie Jean King Enterprises and the Mark Walter Group to explore launching a professional league. And in February 2023, the PWHPA organized a formal union, the PWHLPA, to represent players and negotiate a collective bargaining agreement for the new league. And in June, the Mark Walter Group acquired the Premier Hockey Federation. And the PWHPA's bargaining committee consisted of Kendall Coyne-Schofield, Brianne Jenner, Hilary Knight, Liz Knox, and Sarah Nurse, negotiated with the team's new owners for 5 months before the CBA was ratified in July of 2023. Knight serves on the executive committee for the PWHL Players Union. So, yes, I guess the league was founded in 2023. The Boston Fleet is where Knight started her career in the PWHL from 2023 to 2025. And she served as the inaugural captain of the PWHL Boston, later rebranded as Boston Fleet. from the league's founding in 2023 through the 2024-2025 season. She signed with Boston on September 7th, 2023 as one of the first players in the new league and was named the captain on January 2nd. During the team's first season, Knight struggled with an ankle injury, which showed on the stat sheet with 6 goals and 5 assists in 24 games, but was critical in building the team's foundation, as Boston made a strong playoff run. Knight led the team to the Walter Cup finals in its first season in the PWHL, though ultimately they fell to Minnesota Frost. And then in the next season, Knight rebounded strongly, demonstrating her elite abilities despite being one of the league's oldest players at age 35. And then in 2025, the league expanded and added the Seattle Torrent and the Vancouver Golden Eyes. And Knight signed a 1-year contract with the Seattle Torrent on June 4th, 2025, becoming the first player to join the new team. And on November 14th, 2025, Knight was named the franchise's first captain, having previously captained the Boston Fleet during PWHL's first 2 seasons. As captain, Knight had made her debut in the Torrent on November 28th, 2025, in front of a record-breaking 6,014 fans at Climate Pledge Arena here in Seattle, which established multiple benchmarks, the largest crowd for a women's hockey game in the U.S. arena, surpassing the previous U.S. Professional Hockey League record of 14,288, and the highest attending primary home venue game in the PWHL history. Knight reflected on the significance of the moment, stating, "There's something about Seattle that's just so special. A dream come true, pinch me kind of moment." And so, of course, she's still here with Seattle, and that is a lot of her just home US Canadian play. There's also international play, because she is the face of American hockey, US hockey, for a reason. She's a great player. She started playing for the United States national team as a teenager in November 2006. She was the youngest player on the team at the 2006 Four Nations Cup at 17 years old. She was also the youngest player at the United States squad competing at the 2007 World Women's Championship and helped the team win silver at the tournament. That same year, she also played for the under-22 national team. And Knight became a key contributor to the United States international success over the following years. As example, in the 2011 Women's World Championship, she scored the game-winning goal at 7:48 of overtime as the United States defeated Canada 3-2 to capture the 3rd consecutive world title. So, she has um, World Championships and Winter Olympics, only gold and silver listed here. And it doesn't also list, yes, it does. It does list the 2026 Olympics. So for World Championships, gold, she has 2008, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 23, and 25.
Wow.
Gold for World Championships. And then 5 silvers from 2012, 2007, 2021, 2022, and 2024. And has 5 Olympic medals, 2 gold in 2018 and most recent in our 2026, and then silver for 2010, 2014, and 2022. Which also, if you know Olympians, they're usually on the younger side. They usually don't attend 5. It's kind of usually the end of their career, and she has announced her retirement, kind of unofficially. I don't remember how official it was, but in the most recent Olympics, if you weren't paying attention, right before the uh, US and Canadian gold silver game, she proposed to her longtime girlfriend that they met at the 2022, I believe, Winter Olympics. And so she got a little bit of gold everything, I guess, with the yes from her now fiance, and then gold next day at the winning game. And so, as I've been saying, in popular culture, Knight has been widely known as the face of women's hockey in the United States, a title she acknowledges and is not taking lightly, stating that she hopes to be remembered for both her on-ice legacy and her work off the ice. In 2014, she was featured in ESPN, the magazine's The Body issue, posing in her hockey skates. Knight discussed the experience, stating that she had initially been self-conscious about her athletic build and muscular arms, but the opportunity helped her embrace body confidence and femininity as a strong female athlete. And after winning gold in the 2018 Olympics, Knight traveled across the country on a media tour, making appearances on shows like The Ellen Show, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And then March 2018, she made a guest appearance on a Weekend Update segment for Saturday Night Live. She also recently did a segment on Saturday Night Live again. After the recent 2026 Olympics, she in 2019 worked as a guest analyst for NBC during the NHL playoffs. Um, so she eats, breathes, and sleeps hockey and is here to help women feel more comfortable in their skin and enjoy her sport. Um, so yeah,
Which is
a
not a
little bit
sport
of
that women
uh,
usually think about. That, used to be women weren't allowed to think about hockey.
yeah. So I mean, Hilary Knight is crazy. Um, and also a little fun fact: she grew up in a skiing family, and her cousin is a three-time Olympic alpine skier.
Wow. Well, okay.
So yeah, she is a lot of things hockey, at least for the United States. And I just thought it was cool because I'm living in the Pacific Northwest. I'm living in Seattle. So now she's on my hockey team.
Yeah.
And I get to
And
see one of the inaugural games, one of the inaugural season games soon. We're gonna go to Pride Night.
cool. Cool. Yeah. I get notifications when, like, I pay attention to my Chick-fil-A when the Hurricanes win something. We get, like, a, reward.
That would
So,
be nice,
it's
but
the
I
only time
don't.
I pay attention to, like, because I don't have time to pay attention to hockey. I just
My
don't.
phone has supposedly has um been pinning the Hurricanes games, but it never actually pins them. So I have to go back and see that they've won a game or lost, but they've been winning a lot. Because we also cinched a. Have we already cinched the playoffs? Oh, yeah, we have. Um, so and then of course I guess I'm a fan somewhat of the Seattle men's team because they're cracking and they have cool jerseys. Even though I haven't gone to a game, but I've gone to Canes game,
Yes,
and I will go to a Torrent game, and I have a Torrent jersey.
which is exciting. Finding your roots there.
Finding my roots.
Yeah, like, you're l putting growing your I
Yeah,
don't
putting roots down.
I don't know. It's bedtime?
New
No. I
places are weird.
was gonna say it's bedtime, but it's not, but it
At
is.
6 o'clock for you?
And, I can't stop yawning, so I'm sorry. Well, that's cool. She's cool. That's a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hockey. Most people don't spend that much time in a sport.
I mean, if you're an Olympian, you typically do because the
Well,
US usually kind of goes, "Ah, this is your sport." Pigeonhole
yes.
forever.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Olympia, like, if you do the Olympics, yeah, you've been doing that sport for a very, very long time to get to the Olympics.
yes.
'Cause
But
it's
it's
different.
cute that she's just like, "Oh, we moved. Oh, hockey." And then practicing and emulating all the NHL
Yeah.
guys in the home.
I mean, that's the way to do it is take from the people who are already doing it well. That's what we do. Well, uh, I did Nellie Bly, who is a pioneer in investigative journalism because
Oh.
journalism's changed over the years. And investigation journalism is kind of like, you have to kind of get into the situation. So she was born Elizabeth Jane Cochran um, in May of 1864. So uh, it seems like it
Quite a
wasn't that
while
long.
ago.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But um, and she was born in Cochran's Mills, Pennsylvania, and her last name's Cochran, and so it makes you go, "Okay, well, she was prominent." Well, her dad was a wealthy landowner and local judge, So, yeah, they lived in a place that had their name on it. Her
Yeah.
nickname was Pink as a child because her mom often dressed her in, bright pink. So,
Okay.
okay, sure, whatever. Her father died when she was only 6 years old, and he left no will, so the family kinda went into ruin. Um,
Yeah, because it goes into the first male and
yeah, so
nonsense.
things were worked a little differently there, and women couldn't do things. So, of course, her mom needed to remarry, and she did, but she married an abusive man. I'm sorry, my speech is a little wackier than it used to be. Things
Mine was also stumbling a lot today.
well, I know my speech is
Oh,
'cause
your teeth have been weird.
yeah, I had a bunch of dental stuff done in the last couple weeks, but, her mom did divorce the mean man, and, but between her father, her stepfather, and the whole scenario, she didn't have a whole lot of money, so she did attend Indiana Normal School, which that's what they called a lot of, like, colleges, which is now Indiana University of Pennsylvania, for 1 term, but she had to drop out 'cause she didn't have the money. So, what she's known best for is, her undercover work for they called it stunt journalism, of a asylum. So, she only got there because she read an article, it was a sexist columns in the Pittsburgh Dispatch that was called "What Girls Are Good For," pretty much saying women belong in the kitchen in the home, and she was, like, really, really angry, so she wrote a rebuttal saying, like, to the editor, like, basically, "Oh, absolutely not," and the editor was like, "Okay, I need to know who you are," posted something saying, "Please identify yourself," um and she was offered a job immediately.
Good.
And she signed her editorial, like, letter, as Lonely Orphan Girl. I was like, "Oh." Um,
Sad.
but and her editor gave her the pen name of Nellie Bly, after apparently a Stephen Foster song, but I didn't look him up. So, but this was also the 1880s. So I'm sure none of us alive really know who this person is,
No.
because that was a very, very long time ago. Um, so she was her first investigation, like, work was not like normal writers at the time. Women typically just handled gardening, fashion, like who got married kind of thing. She actually wrote about the poor working conditions of women in factories, and in 1886, she felt like her topics were coming too ladylike and the typical feminine writing, so she traveled to Mexico, as a foreign correspondent, which this is in the 1880s. That is
Yeah.
crazy. This is 30 years more than 30 years before we even had the right to vote. Um, she reported the corruption and poverty under, Porfirio Diaz's reign, until she was forced to flee to avoid arrest, which, of course. Um, but what she is most famous for is what they called stunt journalism, and it is the article 10 Days in a Madhouse. So she moved to New York City and talked her way into the offices of Joseph Pulitzer, and he was currently in the New York World. Her first assignment was literally her most famous and what she is known for. When I saw other things that she had done, I was like, well, that's all I've known about her, like, the whole time. Her mission was she wanted to find out what's happening in a woman's, what it was called, a lunatic asylum. So, sorry, I got a lot of pages here going on. So, what she did is she spent hours in front of a mirror practicing being ghostly, like doing the blank stares where, if you've seen movies when they have people that are like in catatonic states in mental hospitals, they're kind of just staring into space. She stopped bathing, wore nasty clothes. Um, she actually put herself into a boarding house, for temporary females and, what they called working class women. She stayed up all night claiming she was missing trunks and she was driving everybody else crazy. So she started scaring everybody else. And so they called the cops, and she was examined by doctors, and they're like, "Absolutely. She is absolutely dementia, hysteria, but, like, she had a even heartbeat, even pulse, normal temperature, and the doctors declared her undoubtedly insane and hopeless case." And they committed her in September of 1887, and she was sent by boat to Blackwell's Island, now Roosevelt Island.
Sounds a
So,
little like, some horror video games.
that's I mean, for unfortunately, not till that long ago, women could just cry a little bit and they'd be locked up
Yes,
by
lobotomies were common in the 50s and 60s and
yes.
whatnot.
And by doing this, she was able to, uncover a lot of horrific, conditions. She passed the gates, and she as soon as she got through there, she started acting normally, but they all thought that that was, like, made her seem more insane because now she's acting like a normal person in a lunatic asylum, so they're like, "Well, maybe she's even
That's not
crazier than
right.
maybe she's crazier than we thought." So they just insisted she was delusional and she was whatever. There's nothing they could do. Uh, so what she uncovered were patients were subject to ice baths where they were stripped naked and doused with freezing water, and being scrubbed with communal. Nope.
You know?
The brush that everybody else use. Communal.
Words are
I
hard.
said, eh. The brush that everybody used, that tore their skin. So they're freezing, they're naked, and they're scratched all kinds up. Nurses were notoriously violent. She had seen patients be choked, beaten, and tased, which they couldn't have had a taser, so I'm not really sure about that. Um, One had been kept in a jacket so long that their limbs like atrophied, so they like withered. Um, because like you're in a straitjacket, you're like
Yeah,
this.
and you can't use the muscles
Yeah,
'cause
you're like
yeah,
this. Um, and I think I would just go crazy because I know at some point my nose would itch or I would sneeze and
itchies
that
and things.
yeah, that would be what broke me. Their diet was of what was called terrible gruel, rancid butter, and bread that she described was a little more than dry bread, and the water was often contaminated, which that was very common at the time anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
but still, that's why I
Yes.
use other
So
drinks.
that one, I feel like we really can't say that that's a their thing because that was very common anywhere in the world. Because this is around the time of Jack the Ripper, like, it was nasty in a lot of places. Um, so rats were everywhere, wards were unheated and overcrowded, and they were forced to sit on benches for up to 12 hours a day in silence. Um, and there were people that you know, they're coming to the country, they don't know the language, and so people just thought they were crazy because they couldn't speak English, and they didn't know what they were saying, so they committed him because they couldn't explain themselves to the police. Yeah, so there's that, which I don't even wanna so after 10 days, the attorneys of the New York World secured her release, and her two-part exposé behind asylum bars was a sensation. Of course, it led to government action, which is great because government didn't always take action, especially if a woman
Still doesn't.
was saying something. So there was a grand jury investigation, a formal investigation of the asylum. Bly accompanied the jurors back to the island to point out the abuses, anticipating the visit, though. I mean, let's be honest, they knew they were coming. The hospital staff had cleaned and improved the food, moved most problematic patients to hide them. However, they did have her testimony from being there, so that was, able to kinda sway the jury a little bit. Um, the most tangible results were, in shift in public funding because funding didn't really go to these things. The city of New York, added an additional $1,000,000 per year. This was
Not
$1,000,000
a lot then.
in 1887, which I meant to look up what that would be now, for care for the mentally ill. And this went to improving food quality, more qualified staff, reducing the like ratio and from nurse to patient.
That would have
because,
been over 34 million today.
I mean, we just throw money at things now, but,
We
um,
that we don't have.
yes, yes. And it went to, like, helping fix the buildings. Nellie Brown, case also came to, protecting it was a sane person was committed against her will. Like, so it came to, stricter requirements for commitment because they have proof that they committed a sane woman, um, just because they didn't like basically how she dressed and that she was acting a little kooky for a little bit. Granted,
Mhm.
I mean, you're climbing around a house, a bunch of strangers looking for trunks that you say are missing. That's a little wacky, but I feel like the
You
moment you
don't need
start
to
acting
commit
normal,
someone.
yeah, like, so ensuring that people were not just locked away without more rigorous tests. Um, so this was also the birth of, they said, gonzo and muckraking. So, or what they called at the time stunt journalism. So it proved that journalists didn't have to be just an observer. Like, that's kind of a lot of it. You just were kind of like there at the scene and you reported what you saw. And most of it was reported very flowery and exaggerated truths. You can't really trust newspapers from back in the day because they made up
They're
things.
both biased. Mhm.
Yeah, they wanted to sell papers, so they said things. Um, Showed that the press could be powerful tool for social justice, by physically just being in places and observing what is happening. Um, okay, so then she's like, "Okay, well, I can do that. Well, let's see what else I can do." So that was 1887. Between 1888, I'm sorry, 1889 and 1890, she said, "Hey, Jules Verne's wrote this book, Around the World in 80 Days. I can beat that." And because, well, she'd already done crazy things, so they said, "Okay, sure." So she set out and traveled by steamship, horse, and rickshaw and encircled the globe. She actually returned to New Jersey after 72 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds, beating the fictional race around the world.
That's
She was,
crazy.
yeah, she was, of course, already famous. I mean, she was as famous in a completely different group of people after
Yeah.
the she broke that, people are horrible to crazy people. And I mean that in a mocking because most of these people were not actually mentally ill. Um, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Well, I'm bored. Let's go around the world." And she beats a fictional, like, it's just crazy to think that she was able to do that. So, and when she did that, that's on another paper too. Hold on. So she, her, she, of course, like, people were like, "This is not going to happen." They initially wanted to send a man with her because they remarked that the woman would have too many trunks of things. And she said, "Okay, very well. Start the man. I'll start the same day and I'll beat him." So, she went to, like, she's like, "I'm just gonna leave you, you New York world. You don't trust me, you don't believe in me? Okay." So she traveled with only one dress, um, and a small handheld leather bag that had underwear, basic toiletries, sewing supplies, a silk wrap, and a jar of cold cream because women had to moisturize. She had 200 in English gold, 200 pounds in English gold, Bank of England notes, plus some American currency stored in a pouch around her neck. She left November 9th. Sorry, I hit a 9. There wasn't a 9 there. November 14th, 1889, at 9:40 in the morning. She boarded a steamer. And to her surprise, she didn't have just one competitor. She had a couple of competitors that were like trying to do, they're like, "We're going to beat you." So there was a comma oh my lord, Cosmo magazine, we're gonna say that. sent her their own reporter, Elizabeth Bislin, in the opposite direction. So one's going this way, one's going that way, and they're gonna like pass in the
Yeah.
middle. Um, and from the same day to beat her. And Bly didn't even know about the journey until she made it to Hong Kong. So, which is a little bit into her journey at that point.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. So she took her route through England, France, Italy. She went through Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, like a ton of places. She actually got to meet Jules Verne, which was like a huge highlight because, well, that's what inspired her to do this.
Mhm.
And though she was exhausted and losing turn, Verne was very charmed by her, and though he remained skeptical, he did like was really, like, wow, you're gonna try and beat my story. Like this is super cool. She adopted a monkey in Singapore and named him McGritty, became her travel companion for the remainder of the trip. And though he was notorious for biting other passengers, and causing chaos on the ship, which I mean, of course, you have a monkey you're carrying around with you.
Yeah.
Um, so her cultural observations as she dispatched back to New York, um, weren't just about speed, but she wrote about the stifling heat in the Red Sea, the graceful and polite people of Japan, her frustration with the slow pace of bureaucracy in various spots. So she wasn't just like, well, I had to do this in this many minutes, so I moved there and I did that. And she's talking about cultural things that she's seeing around the world because,
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, that's what we want to know. We want to go to places to see what those places are, how they're different than where we're from. Um,
Yeah.
so as she crossed the Pacific on the Oceanic, she was hit by a severe storm that delayed her arrival to San Francisco. She was upset. She was fearing she would lose. But to ensure she made it back to New York in time, the Pulitzer chartered a private train, the Nellie Bly Special, to rocket her across the United States.
That's
Um,
cute.
at every stop across the America West and Midwest, crowds gathered to catch a glimpse of her. She was treated like a conquering general. Brass bands played. They threw flowers. I'm sure there was ticker tape somewhere. Um, so she did beat the record by 8 days. She covered approximately 24,899 miles, which is crazy. Her
Around the world.
rival, from Cosmo, arrived 4 days later, having been delayed by a slow ship in the Atlantic. So, of course, there was Bly mania. It was a huge phenomenon because they're like, "Wow, this woman did this. This is super cool." Um, she turned her into like this global brand. Like we know branding now very, very well.
Yeah, it's
And
everywhere.
yes, and of course, the New York World, like, capitalized on this in huge ways. They had the game of Nellie Bly, where the contestants playing the game could travel and race around the world, kinda like the game of life, but a travel around the world, I guess. They
Imagine having that
had
kind of money.
Yes, of course, merchandise, hats, dolls. I tried Googling it. There are some dolls and ornaments you can find out there, and trading cards. She proved that women were not just fragile creatures requiring a male escort because they're going to have too much luggage, but she was able to tr- navigate international travel on her own. Um, said, I never thought of my luggage and I never felt the need of more than what she had, which is
Good.
super cool.
She must have washed
Um,
that dress to threads.
yeah, so, like, just crazy. So, she's done all of this, and she decides, "Well, I have broken big stories, I've made social change with, mental health, I have become an icon for traveling around the world. I guess I should get married." So in 1895, at age of 31, and 31 in before the 1900s is like, you're gonna die soon. Why are you not married with 20 kids? That
Yeah,
was,
you're a spinster and things.
yes, it was mentality back then. She married a 71-year-old, which I mean, age differences were a big thing, but that was 40 years. So I'm sure that not only was she 31, she also married somebody 40 years older than her, but he was a millionaire industrialist who owned the ironclad manufacturing company. So yeah, but she was also super famous. So she probably just, was eating a hot dog somewhere and he was like, hey, hey, I know you. Um,
Wanna get married?
yeah, pretty much. So she retired from journalism to help with her husband's business. She was also an inventor. So after her husband died in 1904, so 9 years after they were married, because, well, he was 71 in the early 1900s. So
Yeah.
she took over the company and became a social minded industrialist, providing healthcare and gyms for her workers. Like, healthcare.
Yeah,
Wow.
that doesn't happen often today, that's rare.
No, and a gym, knowing that they need to have time to exercise and keep their body fit, and not also it's an outlet for stress.
Mhm.
She was credited with inventing the steel barrel 55-gallon drum, which is actually still the standard now for industries. Um, she also had other patents for milk cans and boilers. Um, Due to embezzling of employees, though, however, and she didn't have any formal business training, the company eventually did go bankrupt.
Dang.
So, which is a bummer because I'm sure she gave it her all, but if people are crooks, you can't
And then they're
really.
using the fact that she's probably a woman to be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, women can't run a business."
Yes. And if she had ever had an experience, I'm sure she could have run it, but she didn't know what to look for. And it's this huge company. So things fall through the cracks. Like, it's just what it is. Fall through the cracks, and I'm only responsible of a tiny little fraction of something like that. Um, she did return to journalism. She was a World War I correspondent in 1914. She was in Austria, and when World War I broke out, she became the first woman and one of the first foreigners to visit the war zone between Serbia and Austria. She was even briefly arrested and thought that she was a British spy because that's what happened back then. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So she returned to New York and joined the New York Evening Journal, and she used her column to find homes for orphans and help poor women find work. So,
Full circle.
yep. And she died in January of 1922 at 57 from pneumonia in New York City. So she did all of that in a very short amount of time.
Mhm.
In a time where it took a very long time to do the smallest of things. And she's credited with saying, "I said I could and would, and I did." I was like, "Okay." And the last quote was, "I never have written a word that did not come from my heart, and I shall never." So, I mean,
Trying to
when
keep herself honest.
yeah, when you think about, like, if you hear anything about, like, women, investigating journalism, like, that's her name, like, that's comes up, and it never comes up, like, her given name because she didn't go by her given name because that was her professional name for
Mhm.
the longest time, but women didn't do those things, much less decide to be committed. She's lucky she got out in those 10 days, like, eh,
Yeah,
yeah, so,
just go
yeah,
all in.
yeah, so many things, like, wow.
It's crazy.
I get exhausted just feeding the cats. Well, there's a lot of them, but,
Yes. You have a lot else.
yes.
A lot else going on.
Yeah, so but, we're glad to be back, but it's gonna take us a
Yeah.
second, I think, to get our podcast legs back underneath us, uh,
More or
because
less, more or less.
yeah, so go do something extraordinary.